Regulatory Authority, EPRA, is currently conducting raids in industrial area Nairobi to nab petroleum adulterators. Jimmy Mbogo is currently in the industrial area with the regulatory team and joins us with more. Good afternoon, Jimmy.
Thank you very much, Noah, and a very good afternoon to you too. Yes, as you rightly said, this is one of the exercises that is being conducted by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that is EPRA, just trying to safeguard consumers, and particularly consumers of petroleum products. Now, where we are, this is the second location that the demolition has been going on. Earlier on, we witnessed another demolition where we found underground tanks, and what we understand is that this current location, there was another demolition that happened earlier on about 4 years ago, that is back in 2019. Now, what these unscrupulous business people have done is bring down the permanent structures and put up makeshift structures largely made of that is iron sheet. And we want to speak to the Director General, that is Daniel Kipto, just to understand how far this process has been going on and what more are they going to do as an authority, and particularly on the issue of surveillance. Wandiji, thank you so much for making time to speak to us. So we understand that, first of all, this is a site that has been demolished before, and yet again here we are. So from where you sit as the authority, what is going to happen to make sure that this is permanently shut down?
I think two issues. The last time we were here to actually demolish this site was in 2018, and they have come back and gone back to the same illegal business. So in terms of ensuring that this does not happen again, we have probably three interventions. One, because it's an illegal facility, they are not licensed. So regulatory intervention, there's no license to suspend or to revoke. The tools that are before us is to be able to arrest and prosecute the offenders in accordance with the Energy Act and the Petroleum Act, and get convictions and fines of the perpetrators. That would be one. The second one is we're working very closely with the Energy Police Unit and the state security agencies to sustain pressure, and working with the state security agencies to provide intelligence to be able to sustain the pressure with the security agencies to ensure facilities such as these are demolished. You'll be aware that where we are standing here today is at the edge of the Sinai slum, and there was a big incident where hundreds of lives of Kenyans were lost on account of a fire caused by petroleum products. If you are able to focus and you see up here, what you're seeing is a lot of illegal connections of power lines, illegal connections that is causing another safety hazard. So we have a very, very sensitive and dangerous area here. One, you have illegal power connections. The connections here have been done not to standard, in accordance with the Kenya standard. You now have petroleum products being siphoned in the informal settlements, and this is a recipe for disaster. So what we are doing is to sensitize and talk to the population here to tell them that we're first doing this for their own safety. Even before we talk about quality of petroleum products, it's first for their own safety, because, as they say, once bitten, twice shy. We've already seen an incident where there was a huge fire and hundreds of lives were lost. So we are hoping that, one, we're able to sensitize and educate the population that this illegal activity puts them first at risk.
There are those who will argue that the fact that we have these illegal dens, it means that there are customers who are seeking this adulterated fuel. So then what are you currently doing as the regulator to ensure that this customer base is actually formalized, so that they do not need then the adulterated fuel?
Yes, I think adulteration is primarily on one front. It's an economic incentive. Where there's an economic incentive to pass off kerosene, which in some instances is cheaper as super was diesel, they will continue to do it. And for us is to ensure that we minimize it through our fuel marking program, to ensure that we're able then to test the product, but also more importantly, sensitize the public, because you may go to a petrol station with your car, you don't know that the fuel is adulterated, you buy that product, then your engine knocks. So the customer may not be aware. So one of the things we're doing is to raise awareness of the public. And where we do have those incidences, we're able to follow up with our licensees, because in those petrol stations, those are our licensees. In some instances, there's dispensation in the informal settlements for borders. That is a bit harder to then regulate. But what we want to do is to sensitize the consumer, because the state security agencies cannot be in everybody's home.
There's a department that is supposed to check that the amount of fuel that a tanker, for instance, leaves the depot with is actually the same amount that they deliver. So there seems to be a gap in that space. as the regulator, what are you doing to make sure that that loophole is sort of sealed?
We are working with the EPRA, which is the East Africa Petroleum Transporters Association, to introduce safety measures, for instance, track and trace of their vehicles, journey management, so that then they know where this truck leaves and how when it ends up. Also, we work with weights and measures to ensure that the dealers at the petrol station have self-test kits, so they can test the quality of the product in addition to checking the quantity. Because sometimes adulteration is not only mixing the diesel or with kerosene or super with kerosene, but also could involve adding water. So when you have a tanker carrying 10,000 liters and you siphon 100 liters and you mix 50 with diesel, 50 with kerosene, another 30 or 40 liters with water, then you start having challenges with your engines. But empowering the dealer at the station to be able to test before it gets there is one intervention. Then we're also working with the transporters, you have to be able to have journey management where you're able to track the trucks. So then if they deviate from your route, you're able to know that they have gone to a shamba, as we call them. But ultimately is to hold our licensees accountable. If you're a driver and you're found in a shamba, we revoke your license. That means you are not going to get another job at another transporter. If you're the transport company and you don't implement effective journey management plans, we also sanction you. So, but we're working it in a very collaborative manner.
Away from the demolitions that are currently going on, there was the question that we're seeing a lot of customers complaining that the amount of fuel that is purported to be 1 liter, for instance. If I go with a jerrycan that is 1 liter, I end up spending more than the amount that have been announced by EPRA. So is this something that you're aware of, and what are you currently doing about it?
Yes, we are actually working, and as part of our enforcement activities, working with the departments of weights and measures, because the dispensing pump is calibrated with another sister agency, weights and measures. We go out to ensure that there is no what we call under dispensation. But yes, I do want to admit that there are those instances where this happens, where there's under dispensation, and we're actually working as a regulator, working with other agencies to ensure that these tanks are recalibrated, these pumps also recalibrated.
All right, Bwadiji, thank you so much for making time to speak to us. And of course, now there you have it, and this is something that we'll be following up with the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority in the coming days, just to ensure that what you pay for at the pump is of good quality and the exact amount that you have paid for. But for now, back to you.
Now, 30 Kenyan SMEs graduated from the